Hi there, survivor. It's been a while, to say the least. But let's talk today about 5 narcissistic tactics that actually a lot of people can miss, so it's very important to stay on the lookout for these things. If you think you can spot a narcissist, you probably can, but there are a lot of people who can't. And this is simply because narcs are just masters of subtle manipulation. So today, let's break down some of those tactics that honestly most people miss, even if you think you know what to look for. Let's talk about how to recognize them before they take like a super heavy toll on your mental health. Narcs aren't always obvious villains. And that's what makes this so difficult, especially if you are dealing with a person who is more covertly narcissistic. They don't look the same way as if you look up narcissist in the dictionary, someone who's full of themselves, so on and so forth. They don't always yell or scream or, cheat. Some of the most damaging tactics are quiet, calculated, and designed to make you question yourself without really realizing that somebody else may have planted some seeds of doubt in your mind. And if you watch someone carefully, you might start seeing the patterns that some people completely ignore or just don't know to look for. So tactic number 1, the subtle gaslight. Unlike dramatic examples that you've maybe seen in movies, subtle gaslighting is small and cumulative. It could be like misremembering events or making you question your feelings, insisting that maybe you said something when you didn't. And the easiest example I can really give is you've made plans for dinner and they say something to the effect of, well, I just don't remember agreeing to that at all. And at first you shrug it off. Well, maybe I did forget to mention it. There was just a lot of stuff going on. And these moments slowly build up over time and can make you doubt your own memory and your own judgment. And psychologically, this is something really powerful because it's slowly chipping away piece by piece at your self-trust. It makes you more reliant on the narcissist for the validation because over time you think, oh, maybe I didn't say this, maybe I didn't agree to this time, maybe I didn't keep them up to date on something, or maybe I did something and they're saying that it didn't happen. So what you start to do, since you're doubting yourself, and we all do it, we go to the worst place we could possibly go. We go to the narcissist. Well, they'll remember one way or the other, or they'll know what's going on or not going on, respectively. And so before you know it, you're going to the worst person that you can go to for the answers. Tactic number 2 is love bombing followed by a sudden withdrawal. At first, they're overwhelming you with attention. They're blowing up your phone and they're buying you stuff and taking you to all the places. And you feel like you've found the perfect person. We all know what love bombing is, but then it stops, and it stops very suddenly. The affection, it's just gone, and it leaves you very confused. You don't understand. They seemed so in, now they seem so out. And if the love bombing has really, really gotten a hold, you might even be desperate for their approval, for answers, what's going on. A really good example is, and it's quite common, unfortunately, is sometimes they'll stop texting. And then the next day they barely respond. Then the next day you get nothing. It's this emotional roller coaster. And it's not romantic. It's control, because they're getting you addicted to all of the attention. And before you know it, your brain begins to chase the highs. You desperately want out of the low. You want to stop feeling crappy. You want their attention again. And you are fearing the lows. You don't want to walk on eggshells. You don't want to piss them off. You don't know what to do. And it makes you more emotionally dependent on them. Anyone who swings in between extremes like this is signaling signs of manipulation, possible control issues, but whatever it is, it sure as hell isn't love. Tactic number 3 is triangulation. So we got to talk about this. Narcs will involve a third person to make you feel insecure or jealous. You might not even know the person. That's what's so wild about triangulation. All you have to do is really have an idea of a person. This could be a friend, it could be a coworker, maybe their past partners. Honestly, it could be somebody the narcissist just makes up. Well, I think Sarah handles things better than you do. Who the hell is Sarah? You don't know. You've never met Sarah. You have no idea. But it makes you feel as if you need to step up and do more. You are being compared. Your achievements and everything else are being compared to another person who, again, honestly, might not even exist. It's all designed to make you step up and do more and more and more. And wondering all the while if you're really good enough. And psychologically, this works. Humans naturally compare ourselves to others. It's not cool, it's not good, but we do it. And by inserting themselves into this comparison, they can control your self-esteem without confronting you directly, because they're not necessarily telling you that you're doing something wrong or bad or that they don't like something. They're just letting you know that somebody else is better. Well, Billy doesn't argue with me like this, or this person doesn't give me such a hard time. My last ex didn't have all these jealousy issues like you have. They're not necessarily down on you, but again, planting more seeds and really making you think, all without really having to be too direct, because of course, most of them can't stand confrontation. So, quick question. Have you ever experienced any of the tactics that we've talked about so far without really realizing it? I sure know that I did in my experience. I didn't know why I was being love bombed, and then all of a sudden a wall went up and I was getting the cold shoulder, and why all of this hot and cold behavior. I didn't understand why all of a sudden I was being compared to everybody else and I couldn't do anything right. So comment down below. I read all your responses and I want to hear your stories. And if you're dealing with someone like this right now and you need someone to talk to about what you've been going through, I also offer private phone chats where we can discuss your personal situation one-on-one. It's a safe space to process your experiences and get guidance if you need it on maybe steps to move further. And to reach out to me, the information that you need is actually on the screen for you now, and it's also available for you in the video description. So tactic number 4 is covert criticism. Ooh, here's a good one. Narcs rarely attack openly, especially the coverts. Again, they're going to hide all this criticism in the jokes and the backhanded compliments and things like that. The easiest example I can give is like, wow, you handled that pretty good. Or you're awfully brave for wearing that, or something to the effect of, oh, no makeup today. Good for you. Something like that. On the surface, it sounds like a compliment, or, oh, you're so brave, or something like that. But once more, another tactic designed to make you doubt yourself and feel inadequate. The comments might seem harmless at first. They tell you that, oh, they're just joking, or you just laugh it off. And this is something that, again, over time accumulates. Lowering your self-esteem, like I said a few minutes ago, just chipping away. Recognizing covert criticism is key, because often it flies under the radar. Or if you do realize that the person's being insulting, they come in with the gaslighting of, you're really just being too sensitive. I was just kidding. I don't care what you wear, or I don't care, blah, 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 blah. I was just being funny. It was just a joke. You're really taking everything too seriously, too personally. And actually, that makes everything worse. So be very careful with covert criticism that's most of the time hidden behind jokes. Because here's the truth. There's always a little bit of truth in kidding. Tactic number 5 is playing the victim. Narcs are never going to take responsibility or accountability or any of that. Instead, what they're going to do is twist situations so that they're always the one that was wronged. They're always the one that was offended or hurt. Again, you know how that goes, more than likely. You maybe confront them, okay, about a mistake that they made. And suddenly it's all about them. I can't believe you're attacking me after everything I've done for you. I can't believe you would accuse me of this. I can't believe you, and a million other phrases they can stick in there. And before you know it, and I know because I'm guilty of this, you end up apologizing even though you didn't do anything wrong. When I confronted the person that I was in a relationship about their infidelity, it slowly became this weird conversation. And by the end of it, I apologized to this person for being cheated on. It's really something. So this guilt tripping and other things they can do, it keeps you very defensive. It shifts your focus away from their behavior. And understanding this tactic will help you stand your ground instead of getting sucked into their manipulation. And something that's really, really good for that is we're not talking about me right now. We're addressing this issue that I'm having with you. If you want to talk about this, we can, and we'll talk about it later. But right now, what I want to focus on is, ABCXYZ. When you look at these tactics together, gaslighting, love bombing, triangulation, covert criticism, and playing the victim, you will start to see a pattern that a lot of a narc's manipulation is more subtle, yet consistent, more subtle than I think a lot of times we understand, and a lot more subtle in our day-to-day lives than I think we really kind of not give credit for, but it's just so easy when it happens in such small little doses, so covertly, or another person is brought into it. It just makes it a little bit harder to see. So the key takeaway here is awareness is absolutely your best defense. Because once you can recognize these things, you regain power over your emotions. And more importantly, not that your emotions aren't important, but your choices. Remember, if you're feeling overwhelmed and you want to talk through your experiences, my service is available to help you process everything safely with a fellow survivor and get support that is tailored to your situations. And like I say, these tactics might seem small on their own, sure, but together, it can really do some serious psychological damage. And recognizing is the first step towards protecting yourself as well as your mental health and even others around you. If you found this video helpful, I hope that you'll hit the like button, subscribe for more narcissism awareness content. If you would like, maybe share the video with somebody who might need it. Again, if you want the guidance, my service is available and we can talk about personalized support for you. As always, stay strong, survivor, and I'll see you in the next video.